Well, good evening, paper engineers in training. The exact same thing I did on the head of this, which you can go back in the videos and see it. It's all 32nd inch wide material. I did that exact same thing here. And this is the ends that I cut off there. And then I've got like 30 strips of paper onto this now. I had to build this back section up, and what I'm doing right now is I'm taking little pieces like this and I'm finding all the low spots and I'm gluing these onto the low spots, and then I'm covering them with white and brown paper. So what this is going to do is this is going to build this up, so when I sand it down, all the high spots will show and all the low spots can be filled in. That's what these are right here. This is a low spot right there. So I just get my measurement, which I just look at a spot on this piece of paper, and then I take this Elmer's glue here and we just put it on there just like that. Now we want adhesion and cohesion. Okay, so I rub this piece of paper in that glue and smear it around nice. And then you just, you hold it for 30 seconds or so. And what that does is that lets both sides start to dry just a tiny bit. And then when you stick them in place like this, another 30 seconds or so, and it should stay absolutely where you put it. If you want your toys or your masterpieces to look right, you have to put the time in to make them look right. No model kits here. No, you're building everything from scratch. It's like making a house. Only difference is you can buy a lumber package. With this, you cannot. Now that piece is there. So, since these were so doggone low, that feels low right there. So we're going to do that with this piece too. Right there. And this is how I make my stuff look so good. There's a little too much glue on that one. Anyway, putting that there like so, and then holding it into place, squeezes all the excess glue out, and it forms itself to that dent. So that when I start putting the brown paper over this, these dents will disappear. And I pull this pretty tight. Not tight enough to break the paper because it's moist, but tight enough so that it stretches it just a teeny tiny bit. Because what it does when it stretches it, it pulls it taut, all right? So when the glue dries, it actually pulls this whole thing together, and it makes your builds a lot stronger. At least that's my theory on that. It may not be true, but I think it is. And then by smoothing it around with my thumbs like that, what it is doing is pushing it down tight into place. Just turning it a little bit, I can see a dent right here. Well, I'll probably have to fix that or not. I mean, it's one of those things going to be under the wing. You'll never even see it. So when things like that happen, you don't have to worry about trying to fix something. I do that though a lot. Now, I want to attach a piece to this. Okay, so now I've got, all right, I've told people a lot. This is the bottom of a Pepsi box. You can see the dents in it from the Pepsi cans. All right, all of my interior work on these is all this dented paper because it doesn't look good on the skin of a vehicle. But inside the chassis, doesn't matter. Nobody's going to see it. And it's just little nuances like that that I've put into my builds that make them look as good as they do. Okay, I'm looking for something over here and I'm not being successful at it. No, well, that is the way it goes. Okay. So, what do I want here? I want a measurement. And that is just under 2 inches. Okay, so basically what all I need to do is I need to mark this out at 2 inches. And 2 inches, because 2 inches is even numbers for builders like myself. And so I can cut that into 1 inch pieces. I can cut it into 4 1/4 inch or 4 1/2 inch pieces or 8 quarters. So I do have a method to my madness when I'm laying stuff like this out, because I know that later on, whatever's left of this piece can be cut down into smaller sections. This is a larger section, don't worry. So, I've got this. And I need 2 inches, which is what this is. Okay, so now I want to measure the elevation on this. And so that is 1 1/8 inches. Or for all you other folks, it's 1.1 tenths. So that would be 10, 11. It would be an 11. And the thing about doing this, you guys, you do not have to worry about You don't have to shoot. You just do not have to worry about exact measurements, because things have to be cut and fit and then sanded down so that they fit more accurately. Well, that is just something that takes time to do. There's this piece that I started showing you what I needed to do. Okay, now I'm going to glue the paint side to the paint side of this. And so now I just take that and I hold it like so. Okay, now what that is doing is that it's giving me the center point to cut this little piece out to drop this in place. And if you want to get really technical with it, you just put your little ruler on there, and that is 20. Okay, so I flip this over and I go up 20 right to there. And so I know that is where my cutoff point is. And we take just a teeny tiny bit more. And so what we got now is that goes on there just like that. If you want it tighter, you just sand some of this off down here and it fits on there just right. Okay, so now that I have that, now we're going to go over here and get this here blue Sharpie. My other Sharpie ran out of gas. And I know my buddy Rye Bread would say, ain't got no gas in it. Rye Bread and Kels, I hope you're doing really good. Okay, so now that is done. And you cut on the inside of the line because your pen is wide enough that it it doesn't work right if you don't change your cut dimension on your cuts. Dimension on your cut. That wasn't even right. Anyway, now that goes on there just like so. Hey, let go of that. All right, now that's almost ready to put on there, but I have to do some finishing touches to the back of this. Okay, now that is nice and flush. Okay, so now we're going to add a little bit of glue over here because I want some good adhesion and cohesion with this. Because this is what is known as a bulkhead. Okay, this is going to carry a lot of weight. It'll carry the wings and it will carry the engine compartment. And so this has to be strong. And I put that extra glue around that shadow form, which is where my fingers are pointing at. That is the shadow form of the original piece of this. when I originally started it. And that shadow form has become the backbone of the hull. Everything is built around it. It's one of those kind of things. It's just like when you're building a ship. The keel is laid first, and the pieces are welded onto the keel. Now, today's modular builds are a tad bit different. The keel is built into each module. And so I'm pretty sure that I'm talking about old world building stuff. So, what I am doing right now is I am smoothing all this out so that it becomes a flawless piece. There's high spots and low spots in here from where I had to put pieces of paper, and I don't want that to show through in the build process. So, I've got to take this all down and make it look right. And in doing so, I am creating a flawless piece of work. Because the thing about this is, the inside of this is a wreck. It always is. Every part of it is hard to build. You got to just build it the best you can, and you put it together. But each time you add layers of stuff on, you get to fix any points that are not as accurate as you need to be. And you don't have to be this way. You really don't. If you build something and you like the way it looks, it doesn't matter what it looks like to anybody else, because it's not important that anybody else cares the way you do about your own builds. My dad raised me as a perfectionist. I had to be perfect at what I did. And so with that upbringing, I tend to go overboard on this stuff a lot. But anyway, this is how it's going to be. And then the wings are going to go on just like this. And so that is where I'm working into now. Is I've got to get the detail work and the armor on this piece so that I can try to figure out how to mount the wings on. Now, I could have made these to go up and down. The problem with that is paper wears out, and eventually they'd just be hanging down like this and you couldn't fix it. And so I decided to mount these solid and not have them movable. And so anyway, it saves a lot of challenges with this build, and it makes it so that it won't ever wear out. Because once I get the cement and everything around these wings, they are not going to go anywhere. It's just figuring out how to get them there that is going to be a challenge. I think what I have to do is I have to build some gussets for under the wing to carry it on the chassis. And that's a pretty tight triangle right there. But it's doable. Now, this piece of paper that I put in here, it needs to be cut open because the fiber optics need to get out now. And I would say now that they are safe, I've got to get them out of here. So I have to be very careful not to cut any of them because they're fiber optic. They don't do well if you cut them. And there, we have fiber optic cables that are now free. And the cool part is, this is extra strong so that when I mount this onto the hull, it is going to be better. It'll be a stronger attachment. Now, that is fantastic. Those are loose. That means I don't have to worry about pinching them or binding them. Now all I got to do is get them aimed at these lights. That is not going to be a hard problem. I've already solved that in my head. Now all I have to do is figure out how to get these wings to attach. And I think what I have to do is I have to build some triangles on here. That I need. That I need as well. Okay, got any of these that are not painted? No, those are all painted. Oh, there we go. Now, I have this little square. Diagonally cutting it like that. That's not enough. That's not enough. I got to bring it up more. But see, now I've got somewhat of an idea of what I have to do. I know that has to be that much more. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do that just like that. Oops. Just like that. And now we're going to cut this just like this. And then I'm going to cut that just like that. Now, I have a wider triangle now. Okay, so now we put this on here. Oops. Wait just a second. Which one? Oh, yeah, it's this one. Almost goofed up. Hold that on there. Stick this on here and see what the wing looks like. Oh, that looks pretty darn good, actually. Huh. Okay. So now I have this piece, this gusset right here. All right, these won't work. I don't want to get them mixed up. I throw them in the garbage. Okay, so I'm gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 6 of these. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more. All right. Now, get rid of the ones that don't work. And let's see how we're going to stack these up now. Okay, what I am doing right now is I am putting them all together so that I can smooth them all up and they'll be almost identical. Okay, something's not right there. Why is that so much different? That has to be turned around. Okay, there we go. Okay, now what this is doing is this is evening up the sides so that they're uniform. Okay, so I also know that 3 of them have got to be glued on this way and 3 of them have to be glued on this way. So now we go to here and we glue this on. Alright, now the whole thing with what I'm doing right now, I am getting this ready for the wings. I am not putting the wings on now. I'm going to let these things dry very well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the armor on the outside of this, which will sandwich these pieces in. What it does is it makes them stronger. Alright, there are those 3 pieces. Now the wing will sit on those. And I have to do the same thing to this side over here. There you go, everybody. That's a whole lot of building technique right there. That once you start mastering how to do these parts, you'll be able to build anything you want. Alright, Paper Army, take care. Salute. I will see you all on my show. 11 a.m. To 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Good night.